How does it feel to be a girl of the 21st century?
Wouldn't be able to tell you.
Me either. And I think that's why we're qualified to talk about this movie the most.
Welcome to the Unofficial DCOM podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
I'm Anthony.
I am Ethan. Not in a Halloween costume this episode, sadly.
But in a clown costume.
Yeah, we've been over this. Do you want to get into the movie right away? Because, I feel like we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, why don't you do a quick summary at the start? Just tell people where we're at, what we're looking at here, and then we'll go from here.
Okay, so today we're watching Zenon, or we watched Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century, which is the first of 3 Zeons. Do you know the other 2? Zenon, my bad.
Yeah, no, I know the other 2.
Then say it.
You have Zenon the Z-Cool.
Classic.
And you have Zenon Z3.
Okay, so we will encounter Zenon 2 more times in our journey. But the first one premiered on January 23rd, 1999 on the Disney Channel.
It's the first in 99.
Yeah, we're getting close to movies where we were alive for.
Still a little far.
But we're getting there.
8 months worth of movies to go. But we're getting there.
Is there a lot of movies in 1999?
It's a good chunk. It might be their most active year.
Okay, they're pumping them out at this time.
Right. Not really caring about the quality, but that's what we're here for.
That's why we watch them. And we suffer or enjoy it.
Probably both.
Yeah, and that's the fun of it.
Absolutely.
So, I think we can start right now. So, we open up the movie to a bedroom on... It is not obvious at first. It's a spaceship. Because the movie takes place in 2049?
2049.
2049. We're getting there. We're almost to Zenon time. Do you think we'll make it to 2049 on a real note?
The podcast? Yes.
The world? No. But we're on a spaceship, and we see a data zap, which is a tablet, and it's playing a video of the main character, Zenon, giving herself a rundown of what's happening today. And it's basically an alarm for her, so she tries to turn it off. And then we cut to a room with 2 scientists, which we learn are Zeon's mother and Zenon's dad. I said Zeon again.
Yeah, I don't know how you're doing this. It's like you're reading it. It's like you're reading the word Zenon and just forgetting about the first hand and not realizing that you watched a whole movie with her name.
Talking's hard, and that's why we have a podcast.
Honestly. Yeah.
So we see the 2 scientists, which are the mom and dad of Zenon, and they're talking about bone marrow and why Zenon wasn't in the mess module for breakfast. We're going to have a lot of that throughout this movie. Phrases, words that are not normal. Because we're in the future here.
We are in the future here, and I think it's an important thing to note right off the bat before you completely jump into this movie.
Mm-hmm.
1, this movie is based off of a book.
I did see that. We got to read it. We got to do a book review.
We got to do a book review. I've not read a book in years.
Me either. So that'd be fun.
Anyway, and it is a failed pilot for the Disney Channel.
Oh, so they still got their time on Disney.
Right.
Just not in the way they wanted it.
Failed pilot is going to explain a lot throughout this movie.
Yeah, so they're talking about why because she's oversleeping, of course, we see that in the previous scene. So the mom goes downstairs and goes to wake Zenon up. And when Zenon wakes up, she said, the data zap Zenon says, at least you're not down there, which is on Earth. We're going to get a lot of anti-Earth propaganda in this movie.
Major anti-Earth vibes. And
is that major a reference to the movie?
I guess it is now.
Because they'll go like, this is a major meal we're having here. Or this is a minor, I don't even know. It's hard.
It's hard. We'll get into it more. Let's get some weird dialect in this movie. But first, let's talk about one of these actors.
Do your actor thing, Tony.
I'll say the other one's names, but only one of them is important. Alright, the parents, the dad is played by Greg Thurloway, and Ashton Carr is played by I don't know, because I wrote down Ashton Carr here.
So Ashton Carr plays Ashton Carr.
Ashton Carr plays Ashton Carr. Zenon is played by Kristen Storms. She's going to be in all 3 of the Zenon movies.
I love that.
She's going to be in Johnny Tsunami.
Okay.
Great movie. Gonna be in Kim Possible, So the Drama.
Which one's that? Is that like an animated?
Yeah, it's an animated, back in the day when Kim Possible was an animated movie.
The Good Times.
It's the Good Times of Kim Possible.
Yeah.
With Christy Carlson Romano.
I have the soundtrack. Killer.
Makes sense. Anyway. Well, let's get going.
Okay. So we then cut to Zenon in the hallways of the spaceship, and she's hurrying to the kitchen because she's late, of course, and the kitchen is closed. But then she bumps into a character named Gemma, who we never see again, and she gives Zenon a meal.
Can we start using Zetus Lapidus?
Zetus Lapidus is the most confused phrase in this film, I feel.
I'll be honest, I know my sister has definitely said it a lot to me.
Yeah, like unironically?
Well, in reference, but as
Okay.
like Zetus Lapidus, this thing. I'm a big Zequel fan.
The movie or just the name of the sequel? Because it's solid.
The movie. I think I can tell you a lot more about the sequel than I can Zenon, the original. And maybe I'm also just thinking about Z3, but I think I'm mostly thinking about the sequel.
We'll see when we get there.
Zetus Lapidus.
Zetus Lapidus, bro. If we can describe the time we're living in right now, it just makes me go Zetus Lapidus.
Doesn't it always?
Honestly. So after she gets the meal from Gemma, Zenon then rushes some more around the ship, and she accidentally bumps into Commander Plank, who tells her to walk because the ship's technically a school as well. It's a whole town on the ship, really.
Right. There's class. Same as movie sets or boats. You gotta have a class.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Sweet Life on Deck kind of vibe here.
Exactly. It's like Sweet Life on Deck, but on a space deck.
Sweet Life in space.
Oh, yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Why
so
doesn't
then she...
Why
No,
doesn't it? Okay.
You go.
Why doesn't any DCOM character have time management skills?
Because we need to relate to these characters.
If we're building the perfect DCOM character,
Yeah.
time management is not on the table.
No, I agree.
And it's weird.
I don't think it's weird. I feel like a lot of kids struggle with time management, and even adults.
But it's like this weird concept of oh, they're really bad at time management, where it's this is bad at time management. Why aren't her parents should just wake her up for school.
Yeah. Like she's got the oh my god, the data zap, but you have your parents come in. They're caring parents. They're scientists.
Right.
They're there.
Yeah. They woke you up anyway late, so why can't they wake you up on time?
Exactly.
Anyway.
After she bumps into Commander Plank, she begins to walk and then run again. But there's construction on the ship. She climbs up to the next level. She jumps on a cart, rolls by everybody, and she finally makes it to class. And she's late, but the holographic teacher has not appeared yet, so she's not in trouble yet. But the holographic teacher then shows up and immediately starts talking about the president of the United States or Earth. I don't know. Doesn't make it clear. It's a Clinton. Which Clinton is it? Chelsea Clinton.
Chelsea Clinton. What other Clinton would it be? Because it doesn't make sense. Well, it makes sense. Because physically it can happen, but logically it can't. So let's break this down a little. First let me just talk about Raven-Symoné real quick.
Yes, Raven-Symoné is in this movie. She's in a starring role, but isn't in the movie a lot.
Yeah. She's probably the second most important child star in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I guess not child star, but like child actor in the movie.
Yeah.
She is gonna, just like Zenon is going to be in 5 DCOMs, which both are gonna tie us for the record spot.
I love a good record.
Love a good record spot, so we have a 3-way tie for first now.
Okay.
She's gonna be in Cheetah Girls, the Zenon, the Z3, Kim Possible So the Drama, and the Cheetah Girls 2. Not Cheetah Girls World Tour, obviously, as it's not a DCOM.
That's sad.
You know, what can you do? Good for them, though.
Yeah.
Raven-Symoné is huge. Now, and even, like, on Disney. Maybe more so on Disney, but now she's, like, a person still.
There's not a lot of people who escape out of that, like, the DCOM Disney world, but Raven-Symoné is one of the most prominent, I feel.
Right. She's on, like, one of those shows. She's on The View, right?
She's on The View. She was on Blackish for a little bit.
The View or The Talk. One of those.
One of the lady shows where they talk about issues and the audience claps at literally anything they say.
Well, yeah. They just talk about politics. She has That's So Raven, which is
humongous.
Great show. And yeah, it's Raven-Symoné. We're gonna pass by her a bunch more times.
I'm excited.
Let's get into this Chelsea Clinton thing, though.
Yeah, so Chelsea Clinton is harvesting underwater vegetation as a source of energy and food. But that's not important. Zenon doesn't care about this lesson, so she uses her computer to look at the low-budget Backstreet Boys, I feel, and she squeals because she's a teenager and she sees a band, and learns that they are going to perform in space, and this gets the teacher's attention because she squeals.
Alright, I want to touch on a few things here.
Okay.
1. Chelsea Clinton right now is currently 40 years old. Not old. It's not old. She can run for president. She wants. 5 years over the minimum age. If she was elected in 2048, this movie takes place in 2049, if she was elected in 2048, inaugurated in 2049, let's say January 26th or January 20th, in the 20s, doesn't matter. Birthday's in February. So, if she is inaugurated in January 2049, she would be 68 at the time of the inauguration.
That's pretty young for this presidential election.
For this one specifically. None of the other ones, because she would be the 4th oldest president to take office at 68. And now, if she took office in 2045, and then had a re-election campaign,
yeah,
she would have been only 1 spot lower at the 5th oldest, because she would have been 64 and 11 months, which passes William Henry Harrison.
Sure.
The one that had pneumonia.
Okay, the only William president I care about is William Howard Taft. The fat one.
Okay. Well, William Henry Harrison is the one that died 33 days in.
Oh, good for him.
And then John Taylor becomes president and then breaks everything because he starts towing the party lines. And then when it's time for his re-election, no party claims him, so he's not even up for re-election.
We're an educational podcast now.
Anyway, it's very interesting to look at the world of, like, Chelsea Clinton's a teenager as this movie is being made.
Yeah, I guess that's what makes it funny at the time of release.
Right. And I don't know when the Clinton, I don't think I was around for I don't know when the Clinton impeachment trial was.
That's too historical for us.
That's too historical. I can tell you about John Taylor.
I think we've heard enough.
Can't tell you about the Clinton impeachment trial. However, I think it's interesting to look back at this now and be like, they're gonna say that she's too old and a woman, just like they did with Hillary Clinton.
I have a question here. Oh, you go.
You go.
Okay, so they talk about 2 bands here. Okay. They talk about Proto, and then Microbe.
Right.
What's the difference? Because I'm confused. I've been confused.
Okay, here's the thing. Oh, so you said, what did you say? What did you call Microbe? The knockoff?
Backstreet Boys. I don't know. It was a boy band.
Absolutely. Knockoff and Sync.
Oh, yeah, they had the Justin Timberlake
Has the Justin Timberlake hair. Okay, I want to make sure. Protozoa is the lead singer of Microbe.
Okay. They don't make that clear.
They kind of do.
They don't make it clear for me. Which isn't saying much then.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Hard to argue. If they didn't make it clear for Ethan, they probably didn't make it clear for too many of the children watching.
Yeah, it's a good level to like know if kids understood it by if I understood it.
That's the bar.
Yeah. After she squeals and the teacher kind of calls her out, she plays it off, and then we cut to after class where Zenon is talking with Nebula, who's Raven-Symoné's character, and they're talking about the Microbe concert that they're going to come to the space station, and there's a contest where somebody from space can dance with Protozoa.
I hate this.
They go to spread the word here. There's a third character here. Don't know her name.
Well, I'm going to introduce her once they finally say her name, just to point out the nonsense of these movies.
Yeah.
Here's my problem. I hate this contest.
The contest doesn't make any sense.
The contest is weird. The contest is predatory.
I mean, Justin Bieber kind of did that thing where he would invite
How
young
old was
girls
Justin
up.
Bieber?
He was young. Oh, you have a point here. It's clicking. Yep. It's kind of weird.
Right. It's weird because it kind of becomes less weird when you actually see it happen, but
yeah, they do a good job with that. Like, they don't make it feel predatory
until a certain point. But we'll get into that. It's
okay.
Weird that like, oh, if you win this contest, you're gonna be able to go on stage with the lead singer who looks 30 at best.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get to dance with him. And they're advertising this to 13-year-old girls.
That's weird.
Not great.
Not a good look for Protozoa.
Not a good look for Protozoa. Not a good look for DCOMs.
But there's worse.
There's worse. Not great.
So, in the next scene, Zenon, Neb, and some dudes who we don't know their names until way further into the film.
You learn one of their names here. The least important one, you learn his name is Aquila.
Aquila?
Yeah, which I assume is short for something. But I don't know. I didn't look it up. He's played by Blair Slater. Blair Slater.
Slater.
He's not important.
Okay. The other one's, I think, Lynx. Isn't that correct?
Right. The girl is Lynx, and
the girl's Lynx?
Yeah. The boy is Leo. But we're not introducing the actors until we hear their names from the movie to show you.
I'm going to try to refer to them as their names as best as I can, but they don't do it, so I'm going to try my best.
It's terrible.
So Zenon, Neb, and the dudes are at lunch, and they're making fun of the dudes for not understanding the hype of Protozoa, but this doesn't matter because Commander Plank goes up on the stage in the cafeteria to talk. And here we learn that the space station president, I guess that's his title, investor.
Elon Musk.
The Elon Musk of the space station, Mr. Wyndham, is visiting the space station, and everybody is worried because the space station isn't doing so well, but they're doing life-saving research?
I mean, if you think about it, here's the thing. So, let's say, in the best case, let's say that they're up there in space right now. They are doing research on planets. They're getting close to planets. They're getting closer to planets.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing life-saving research by living in this space station. And they're figuring out, is life sustainable outside of the planet Earth? In a best case scenario. Now, there are a lot of things this movie's going to get right. There's a lot of things this movie's going to get wrong about this futuristic world.
Yeah.
There's a few things they're gonna get right. And I don't know where this falls. But I do know where Mr. Windham falls.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they nail this Elon Musk character of a rich billionaire space enthusiastic man that wants to figure out how to have life outside of the planet Earth and is going to just pump money into it is pretty impressive that they even did this. And we'll get into it later, but the timeline of the space station going up is pretty impressive too.
Yeah.
It's head scratching, but it's impressive nonetheless. But it's interesting that they get something's spot on and something's very far off. And I don't think they're doing life-saving research, especially when they're talk about how the parents are scientists and they're doing great work with bone marrow.
Yeah. Do you think Elon Musk watched this movie and was inspired?
Yeah. I think he was sitting at home, 99, 98, probably just made PayPal, and was like, where to next?
Space. So we get that talk, and the big gist of it is that everybody needs to be on their best behavior so the ship can survive, because the ship's kind of falling apart. It's not getting as much funding, but this message is mainly meant for Zenon because she's the troublemaker here.
Yeah, he just stares down Zenon here.
Yeah.
And I realized in my notes, I have this here. I have the point that I'm like, oh, we'll talk about that later. It's here. They say that the space station is 27 years old.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Meaning, do you know what year the space station's built?
Do the math for me. I'm not gonna.
We're not a math pod. 2022.
Oh.
Right.
Elon Musk has to get on this. We got to launch a space station up right now and start cultivating life.
In 2022, this space station is launched. Theoretically, meaning this presidential election is going to have the president that okays a space station where people live on.
Is this the Space Force? Is this what the plan has been the whole time?
That would make sense. I mean, because obviously you can't, they need, this is a 10-year project. Honestly, realistically, if this was getting launched in 2022, they thought about in 2020. No, in 2012.
Yeah.
Which is 14 years after this movie is produced?
This timeline's confusing, but I'm convinced.
Jump 50 years and lose the Chelsea Clinton joke.
The Chelsea Clinton joke is what makes this movie. You can't take it out.
Jump 100 years and lose the Chelsea Clinton joke, and it makes, it doesn't make any, huh?
Okay, well, we had enough of this timeline.
What are we doing here?
We then cut to a lab where Zenon enters, is sterilized by some bright lights, and she's freaking out about the space station shutting down. But the parents say, we're not going to be shut down. But Zenon, you have to act your best. She agrees here, but then when Zenon brings up the fact that they might have to go back to Earth if it shuts down, because we learn that Zenon has lived on Earth as a child for 5 years.
5 years. She moved up when she was 5.
Yeah, I don't know how that works, body-wise, if that's going to, mess you up. I guess that's what the research is for. Either way, the mom doesn't respond to this comment, really. We then cut to a room where Zenon and the homies are hanging out, and they're talking about the Windham visit. And Zenon basically spouts some more anti-Earth propaganda, and that it won't be hard for her to act nice and not be a troublemaker for 3 days. And then they all agree to check out the Stage 5 solar flare that is happening at 4 a.m. or peaks at 4 a.m.
All right. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Let's get into some of this stuff. I don't know if it's continuity, really. I think it's just logic and timing. Zenon was brought up at the age of 5. Super important to note. We'll bring this up a lot later. I will. I'll bring it up a lot later.
Okay.
I have problems. But she lived on Earth since she lived on Earth up until the age of 5. Do you have any memories from before your 5th year on Earth?
No, my memories don't start for a while.
No?
I don't think so. Like maybe early elementary school, but maybe kindergarten. I guess that's as early as it goes.
Preschool?
Oh, no, maybe back preschool. Yeah, bits and pieces. I'm not going to be able to tell you any stories from. Yeah,
Right,
but still,
right.
okay.
Okay, alright, just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Anyone listening at home, keep in mind, like, go pull out some memories from before you were 5, or 5. We don't really know, you know? Maybe at the age of 5 you have some memories. Pull those up. Anyway, Zenon says her mom was in the hurricane of 35. And she told Zenon about it. No, sorry, it was an earthquake. It was an earthquake in 2035.
Okay.
Apparently it was crazy that it was, like, worth it to be like, it was bad, we're moving to space.
Maybe everybody's got to prepare for the 2035 hurricane or earthquake. We got to watch out.
Right. Let's break a few things down. The ship was up for 27 years.
Oh, you're really getting into this timeline math. Okay.
Starting in 2022, the timeline makes sense from a, like this year, it doesn't make sense in a logic standpoint. Goes up in 2022. 27 years later, it's 2049. In 2035, her mom is on Earth in an earthquake. Meaning, at least one of the scientists that are doing life-saving bone marrow research in space was not on the ship for 13 years and was only brought up to the ship when her mother convinced her and her 5-year-old daughter to go up to the ship. This mother could not convince her other daughter. Whatever. Now, 2036 is when Zenon is born. 5 years later, she's brought up in 2041, right?
Sure.
Now, here's my... Who names their daughter Zenon? In 2036?
That was all what that was about?
In 2036. Like, the mother, she didn't live in space when she had this baby.
Yeah.
We're gonna meet a Greg, a Marcy?
Margie.
An Andrew, Margie. It's Margie. We're gonna meet a Greg, a Margie, an Andrew, and a Mike. Why? There was a girl born on Earth, lived on Earth for 5 years with the name Zenon. I'll name my daughter Zenon in 2036. I'll do it.
For the bit?
I'll do it for the bit. If I have a daughter in the year 2036.
Only 2036.
Right, because it's situationally, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on because I think you've ranted about the name and the timeline of this film enough for now.
I'll bring it up again, I promise.
I know you will. I'll try to keep us on track. So they go to check out the stage 5 solar flare, and we cut to Zenon putting on a space suit, wanting to check out the solar flare closer, like out of the ship while everybody else stays inside because they're really not supposed to be down where they are. And Xenon's definitely not supposed to go off the ship.
They're just a bunch of astronomy nerds.
I guess. It makes sense because her dad's a scientist. Her mom and dad are a scientist.
But they're biologists.
It's all science.
Okay.
So Zenon goes out into space, sees the solar flare, but when she's seeing this, her dad catches her and everybody else, and she has to go back in. She gets in trouble, of course. They go to, I don't know what to call the place they live. It's like their home, but it's on the ship because it's like a room that they live in.
Yeah. No, I actually did that too. Right as I was like writing the note for the cut to the scene. I wrote household, but I think like quarters maybe?
Quarters makes sense. Yeah. Especially in space terms.
Can we go back here though?
Yeah, of course. As long as you don't rant about the timeline too much.
The timeline! The other girl's name is Lynx. We're gonna learn this as she's strapping in Zenon to go out into space. She's played by Danielle Frazier. I don't like that you zoomed past this terrible CGI scene.
Yeah, it's bad. There's worse CGI though later.
Yeah, there's gonna be worse CGI. This is one of the ugliest things I've ever seen in a movie.
I mean, the whole space station, of course, is CGI because they don't have a camera in space for a DCOM.
Right.
But then they try to basically paste Zenon in her spacesuit on top of it, and just the way she moves is kind of really odd.
And then, like, they zoom out, and it just looks like this. It just looks like how a imposter is shot out of in Among Us, and that's about the same quality. And then there's, like, whatever this thing that they were looking into space to see wasn't, like they could have put a little bit more time into, like, creating something nice in the background. It wasn't anything, like, pretty.
It was just basically Earth shining brightly.
Yeah. Which just means California's on fire again.
Again in 2049. That's crazy.
Not at this rate.
Yikes. So after that, Zenon is getting reprimanded by her parents. She's reminded about the Windham visit. And the mom puts on like a stress helmet here, and she has to go to her chill chamber because Zenon has stressed her out so much, because apparently this is the third time that the mom brings up that Xenon's done something like crazy, and the mom's still like, I'm not going to ground you yet, but watch out. 3 times isn't enough for me to ground you, especially when we have this dude who might be able to save our spaceship here.
Right. Xenon's also going to hit him with the, I can handle myself, I'm 13.
Yeah, that's a DCOM cliche. Classic. We're going to experience it a lot, I know.
But also, the stress helmet is the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it looks like something you see in those alien movies that, like, it'd be their crown.
Yeah. It honestly looks like a real life prop of something that would be in, like, Phineas and Ferb.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Candace wore this.
I think she did.
I promise you she did.
But
it's
either
the same
way,
prop.
I don't care if it looks ugly. If it works, I would take it in an instant.
Also the chill chamber.
That's what we call our hangout spot, the chill chamber.
Welcome to our podcast. It's the chill chamber.
You have now entered the chill chamber. So, just another note in this scene, her dad isn't fully committed to being angry at her. He's kind of proud of her, but that's it.
No, he thought it was cool.
He thought it was cool. We cut to Zenon and Nebula talking about the contest, the Protozoa contest, where there's no rules for this contest. Zenon has made a sculpture of Protozoa, or the microbe concert. Well, it's going to be confusing. Zenon made a sculpture of Protozoa, and Nebula has written an essay about why she'd be great. I guess they needed a nerdy character here. But then they talk that Wyndham has arrived on the ship. And that's that scene.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, nothing happens here. The next scene, the parents are giving Windham a tour of the ship when Zenon, who is going to the trash compactor because Nebula's thing is she likes to make, I guess, jewelry out of junk she finds on the ship.
Right.
It's a big part later, but it's not important right now. Zenon she sees their parents and Wyndham, and she goes to talk to them. She talks about the band and how great living in space is, but for some reason she has a weird feeling about Windham. There's nothing visually that happens, but Zenon's just like, yeah, this dude's creepy.
Mr. Wyndham is played by Frederick Coffin.
Okay.
He passed away in 2003. Before that, he was on Wayne's World, or in Wayne's World. He was also in The Twilight Zone. So that's pretty cool. He also has his little lackey, Mr. Lutz.
Yes.
And he's played by Bob Bancroft. And he was in Parks and Rec.
Good for him.
He was one of the accountants that hired Ben. And they were all real nice to him, and then he quit and was like, nope, I don't want this, you're too nice. Anyway, Mr. Windham says microbe wrong. He calls them the microscopes.
That's funny.
Which is funny, but it's like the one thing that, like, Zenon's like, oh, wait, something's up about him?
No, it's just a boomer parent.
No, because his whole thing later is like, everyone's like, oh, like, he knew all, like, he started quoting the movie that the one kid brings up, or he knew everything. He gets the one thing wrong, so it takes Zenon off. She's like, there's something off about this guy. Which is weird, like, it's weird that works, that takes her off.
Yeah.
Also, I have a question. why is Windham not more confused when Zenon speaks? She throws in stellar or, like, random space-themed slang into everything she says, and this guy is just having a normal conversation with her.
Yeah, the thing about the space lingo is I thought it was going to end when it gets to Earth, but it just gets into another confusing type of lingo that these 2049 Earthlings talk. So I don't know if there's, I know they make fun of Xenon later, the Earth, like the humans, but
Earthlings. Call them Earthlings. Call them
Earthlings,
what they are.
They're all humans. I don't know. It's weird to call people Earthlings, but the thing is, it's just weird. Because their language doesn't, their slang doesn't overlap, but they still got their weird slang both ways. I don't know.
Right. Like, they're like, we use alpha, and it's like...
Instead of, like, major, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's weird. It doesn't make sense. It's like... Alright. I don't know. I'm just confused all the time.
Yeah, me too. So let's move on, and maybe
Dude,
we'll learn more.
You too?
You knew that already.
Nice.
I'm glad you're joining the fun here.
Nice, awesome. Dude,
Nice.
High five.
High five. That was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. We'll hear that on the podcast.
So after that, she's like, I got math homework to do, and the parents continue the tour. We then cut to the cafeteria where Nebula and it's, I think, Leo. I don't know. I wrote
Leo.
links. It's
We're
Leo.
gonna learn his name in this scene. Alright, let me talk about Leo, because awesome this guy. I love Leo. He's played by Neil Dennis. Maybe you don't know Neil Dennis, because I didn't, but he played Spike in X-Men Evolution, which I used to watch all the time. I rewatched that in college. I love that show. So good.
Is that the animated X-Men?
It is one of the animated X-Men.
Okay. I've never seen it, but you're hyping it up, and I'm happy for you.
It's the one that's more like all the X-Men and the Brotherhood both go to the high school. I love this guy.
He's pretty cool. So
we can continue.
We continue? Okay. So after, they're in the cafeteria, Nebula and Leo are talking about how great Wyndham is. You brought up that point earlier that Wyndham remembers the stuff, or knows the stuff they're talking about, but then Zenon comes in and she's talking about the weird vibes she gets from him, and then they pan over to Wyndham, who's talking to the parents, and some spooky music plays, because something's off.
Yeah, there's some spooky music and like a weird zoom?
I don't know. This scene's very irrelevant.
Very irrelevant.
So let's go on to the next one. Every space-themed movie has to have a compactor, so Zenon goes down there to find stuff for Nebula, and when she's coming out of this compactor, Zenon sees Wyndham's lackey, Mr. Lutz, trying to get into the main memory bank. But since Zenon sees this, Mr. Lutz is like, Mr. Wyndham likes to wake up to stock stuff, like, I guess, Space Wall Street, I don't know. He tries to play it off, basically.
He tries to play it off like, I'm just looking for some computers to use.
Mm-hmm.
And Xenon's not, she's not about that.
She's not buying it. One weird thing is, like, she's like, this room has stage 4 clearance. Mr. Wyndham has to have stage 4 clearance, and therefore Mr. Lutz has to have stage 4 clearance.
Right.
I know she thinks the vibe is off, but still, he's got to have access to, he does have access to that room.
It feels like they can get access to that room.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Zenon tries to prevent him from getting in because she thinks stuff is off. So she's like, walk me back to my room because the spaceship is scary at night. Lutz doesn't want to do it, but Zenon convinces him to do it, and that's the end of that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Nothing major, nothing minor, nothing alpha, nothing stellar about it.
It wasn't luminarious.
Wasn't Nova.
Yeah, none of it. So, the next scene, Zenon is back in class, and she's falling asleep because she was up all night dealing with Mr. Lutz, and she falls out of her chair. I've fallen asleep in class before. You either fall forward and sleep on your desk, head down, or you fall back and jerk, awake. I've never heard of any student falling out of their chair sleeping in class.
Well, one time, one of my friends fell asleep at the end of class. This is the same chemistry class that I've referenced before on this podcast.
A popular one.
I'll be honest, I don't know if that conversation was still in the episode, but I digress. He fell asleep, and it was like 8th period, so I went under the table and tied his shoelaces together. And he fell to the side when he tried to get up when the bell rang.
Well, that makes sense. He had a reason to fall down.
It depends. Maybe, do they have shoelaces in 2049?
According to Back to the Future, no. So after class, Nebula knows why Xenon's tired because of the whole situation, and Zenon is just angry that nobody believes her, and that nobody believes that Mr. Windham or Mr. Lutz are bad people. But Nebula leaves this conversation, and Windham sees Zenon in the hallway. He winks at her really creepily, and then stares her down as he walks away.
Right. Stop winking.
Don't wink at a girl and don't stare her down, especially when she's 13.
Yeah, and he's like, he's old. He's real old.
He's old and in like a public place.
Yeah.
Real creepy.
Yeah. Stop winking. He does it again.
He does it, yeah, he does.
I will say it's a little less creepy the next time, but like, it's not necessary.
It's
you
creepy
don't need
here.
to wink.
No.
Especially, yeah, you don't need to wink.
Yeah. So, in the next scene, Zenon is leaving the quarters that she lives in because Microbe is having an announcement about who won the contest when her mom stops her to thank her for acting so well while Windham is on the ship. And then Xenon's like, okay, and leaves because she hasn't been acting well. And at the announcement, the dudes of the group are making fun of them once again, and the countdown begins on the very 90s projection screen, I guess you want to call it. It's a screen.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just something you find at like Disney World. And it's like a very old ride, and you can tell it's like 90s, the screen you're watching on.
Right, this movie is just like Horizons the ride.
Yeah, there's some music later that gives me like very bootleg Epcot Future World kind of vibes. But it's a DCOM, and it makes sense.
It doesn't, but here we are.
Yeah.
Protozoa, British, old.
I wasn't expecting them to be British. That was my main thing. Not that they were old, that they were British.
Right. Because you can't you can't shoot an American up into space, but you can shoot a British guy up into space. Anyway, he's played by Philip Reese, spelled like Reese Hoskins.
Hell yeah. Go Phils. Sign JT.
Don't do that. He's gonna be in the sequel.
Hell yeah, I love this dude. He might be given I like him. He might be given a weird part in this, but like, I love him.
Right. He's given a very weird situation, but I think like the normal scenes he does good.
I love him.
When he's not creepy, he's fine. Anyway, carry on.
Okay, so the countdown on the screen happens, and then Microbe announces that Zenon has won the contest and that she will get to dance with them at the concert. That's all that happens there. And then after that, Zenon talks to Nebula about something, doesn't matter, but is interrupted by Leo, who gives Zenon a code to spy on Lutz. And Nebula doesn't like that. Nebula we now learned, is his character who hates anything adventurous. That's important for later. Yeah, Leo's dad is like the code guy of the ship.
Yeah, he's the code master.
That's really the only reason why Leo is in this movie. To give them codes to places they shouldn't be.
He's also there to like go to the places that Nebula doesn't want to go to with Nebula.
When Zenon isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So we then cut to the main memory bank at night, and Lutz returns, and he enters the room, but we see Zenon spying on Lutz. And then Lutz uses a little disc, which is, I would describe it as a watch battery.
Yeah, that feels right. It's like it's not very big.
Yeah, it's 2049. They've compacted disks even more.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Got rid of USB sticks, got rid of flash drives, and said back to disks, but we'll make them tiny.
There's also no cloud anymore.
No cloud. You don't need a cloud. You're in space. You're above clouds. Come on.
Damn, that was deep. So Let's steals this information, types some wingdings into the computer, and then he leaves. And Zenon tries to leave after him, but since you have to use a code to enter and exit the room, which is a fire hazard, I guess there's no fire code in space. And the code that she wrote on her hand earlier from Leo has smudged because, of course, she wrote in a marker. The alarm goes off when she tries to leave, and then Commander Plank finds her. And she tries to plead her case that Lutz is a bad guy and Wyndham's a bad guy, but nobody believes her.
She needed the code to get into there. How did she forget it already?
It's smudged in the time from her hiding, for entering the room, hiding, and then leaving. She smudged it off.
Right, but also mentally, she inputted it to get into the room, to hide.
She's got dumb brain like me.
Well, that's fair.
I feel like me and Zenon are very much alike, and not at all at the same time.
I think so.
I'm glad
you're both pretty stellar.
We're both pretty major.
Both pretty major.
Luminarious, some may say.
Pretty nova.
Okay, we've done this bit already. Nobody believes her, and then Plank tells the parent to give her a punishment that fits the crime. And we learn that in the next scene. They're back at the quarters, and we learn that parents are grounding Zenon. And by grounding, they mean literally grounding her on Earth. She is going to live on Earth with her Aunt Judy.
I don't like this punishment.
It seems very overkill. Like, you haven't grounded her once. Like, we've talked about the 3 times earlier. Something would be like, hey, stay inside for the rest of the time that Wyndham's here. We're not going to send you down to Earth and another planet.
The spacewalk is worse than this.
Yeah.
100%. She hid in a vent. Like, she hid in a room. How's the memory bank a higher clearance level than a spacesuit? Access to the spacesuit,
and out of the ship as well.
And out of the ship, yeah. Like, she left the ship.
Yeah.
And that was like, no, you're fine. Next time, though. And she hides in an air vent, and they're like, you go.
Earth, go, out of here.
Earth, out of here. Beat it, punk.
Doesn't make sense. But go back a little bit. Lutz has dropped the little disc. It is quiet. There's nobody else. And he drops a metal thing on a cement floor. You have to hear that. He walks away. That's
because he's going to put it in a front pocket on his shirt.
Yeah.
He just goes to drop the disc into his pocket instead of going into his pocket and letting go in there. He was went for a
3-pointer.
He went for a 3-pointer instead of just dunking.
Yeah, well, he misses that. Also, are there no security cameras on this ship? It's 2049. Okay, there's no? Cool, we'll move on.
No way. Not a chance.
It'd be easy. The movie would end right here. But we have more to go. So the next scene, Nebula is walking, and she finds the CD thing that Lutz dropped, and she just thinks it's a cool piece of junk for her jewelry, and thinks nothing of it. So in the next scene, they're back in the cafeteria, and Wyndham is speaking on stage again, and he's pledging $500 million US, who knows, to the ship as Zenon is packing up, ready to go back to Earth.
It's definitely US.
Yeah, it's Elon Musk money.
Elon Musk money. Okay. 500 million? Not enough.
Not enough?
No way!
What's 500 million in 1999 bucks?
313 million.
It's 500 million.
Right, it's 313 million.
I'm so confused. So after that speech, we then cut to Zenon preparing to leave. She's got her bags packed, and she meets up with Nebula. And Nebula gives Zenon an earring to remember her by, but it's actually the disk that Lutz used to steal the data, which is going to become very important later. And then after that, the parents come to say their goodbyes, and Zenon learns that she is leaving on Windham's ship as well, and she's not happy about that.
Not happy about that. Well, for good reason. Because one, she is convinced that this man is dangerous.
Yeah.
She would be right. And two, her parents are like, we're doing you a big favor. They're doing us a big favor, letting you go down in their ship.
Mm-hmm.
And seemingly, there's a lot of ships.
Ships leave every day.
Yeah, and they're like, they're cargo ships, there are, like, and on top of that, Zenon, like, they say to Zenon, oh, well, as quick as we can, we'll bring you back. And it's like, then why are you sending her?
Yeah, there's easier ways to do this.
If you want, like, oh, as fast as we can, we'll bring you back. But if you're so concerned about the fact that you weren't going to get her on a ship back down unless the billionaires were there, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. So let's go on. Unless you got more.
No.
Okay. So Zenon gets on the ship, and Windham gives her another one of his good old winks. And then they travel back to Earth. Not everybody was strapped in before the person running the plane started counting down to take off. I feel like that's dangerous.
Right. Zenon walked in, sat down, and the lady was like, all right, we're ready to take off, and just started the 10-second countdown.
To buckle up. And that flight attendant wasn't getting back, she buckled Zenon up. She wasn't getting back in time to sit down before the plane took off. That's unimportant, though. So they get to Earth with the best CGI of the movie. You hated on the CGI of the space station. I am loving the CGI of this plane with a completely real background behind it.
Are you saying you're loving it?
I love it because it's so bad.
And it's real bad. I think it's worse than the spacewalk.
Well, yeah, because the CGI plane is put on with a live background, but in space, the whole space is CGI because it's space.
Right. And then it just wasn't in the budget to film in space.
Yeah, not this time at least.
When are we gonna get that movie?
I don't know. It's gonna be insane.
Why hasn't Michael Bay tried to get into space to film a movie yet?
Do you think we can petition to get us on the first movie in space?
Yeah.
Do you think we can do a pod from space?
Ooh. If we both get on it, then we can do a pod from space.
We can do Space Jam.
Ooh.
We got ideas. Guys, tweet at Michael Bay that Ethan and Tony want to go in space to film a movie, but low-key, it's just to film a pod about Space Jam.
Exactly. That's a genius. We're so good with ideas.
We're so great.
Yeah. And he'll take us in a second, because there's no way that's a union gig.
Oh, yeah, no, you're not having, Tom Cruise go up to space. The insurance on that must be crazy. If you're sending two 20-some-year-olds up into space, you're fine.
Well, are we filming the movie, or are we helping produce the movie?
We're filming the movie, but then on the side, we're doing a pod. We're acting. We are space.
We are space.
But Zenon isn't space anymore.
The Unofficial DCOM podcast. We are space.
What a tagline. So they land on Earth and getting off the plane. So Zenon makes this comment earlier that she's never sneezed once in her life because apparently you don't sneeze in space. I don't know the science behind that, but Zenon says it's true. So when she gets off the plane on Earth, she sneezes and she falls down the stairs off the plane.
She has sneezed before.
Yeah?
She lived on Earth for 5 years.
Okay, we're not going to get into this again. What's your next issue with this?
We're going to get into this again, I promise you. She also says thank you, gravity, when she falls.
That's not how gravity works. Yeah, it's just not the same type.
Right. That's
Whatever.
That's
okay,
it.
Cool.
We're going to get into this also.
Yeah, because we have a lot about Earth.
Yeah, I promise.
So they're all walking with Wyndham and Lutz, and then Wyndham says that her aunt's going to get her, but Zenon makes sure before she leaves that she tells Windham that she does not fool him. Doesn't matter though, because Zenon gets sent off into Earth, having not been there for so many years, just to find her Aunt Judy wherever she is.
Yeah, it's just weird. They're like, oh, your Aunt Judy will be over there to pick you up. And, like, it's just weird that Aunt Judy isn't there earlier.
Yeah, because you would assume that somebody who just arrived on Earth for, like, really the first time. That's what I'm going to call it, the first time for her. I know you have your issues with that, but being on 5 is completely different from being 13 on Earth, like, mind-wise.
From experience, yes.
Yeah, so, like, just sending a 13-year-old out who hasn't been on Earth before to find somebody.
Even
no
if
specifics.
it was just, yeah, even if it was just like a plane to a new place, like you'd be like, all right,
you need an adult. You're 13.
The adult is gonna like be there before the kid.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. It's never specified how long these plane rides are, or these ship rides.
Yeah, because we get later a scene of them like in the plane, but this time it's just an instant transition.
Right. I assume it's gotta have been expedited for there to be constant travel.
Yeah.
To and from the space station, and there's a lot of travel, despite them saying like, "Oh, we'll try our hardest to get you back." There's like a lot of ships going in to and from this ship.
Yeah.
Aunt Judy is played by Holly Folger. She's gonna be in all of the zoology.
The Zenonology. The Zenon. Oh my goodness. The Zenology.
The Zenaga.
The Zaga.
The Zillogy.
Before she goes off to find her Aunt Judy, Zenon does the Radio Rebel hair tuck kind of thing.
Okay.
And we see the earring, which is the disc that Lutz lost, and Lutz sees this, and he's like, uh-oh, I've screwed up major.
Alpha.
Okay, we're on Earth now, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're on Earth now. Get it right.
I gotta get my lingo in check. So after that, Zenon goes to Aunt Judy's car, and then they go out to a restaurant, and on their way walking by, they pass by a group of other 13-year-olds, as we will call them, and they make fun of Zenon because Zenon is still in her space clothes. Give her an outfit. Give her an Earth outfit.
I have a few things.
It's not hard. Yeah, of course you do.
My first thing is just like, it's weird that it's a yellow punch buggy. Like, they picked the oldest car. They were like, this is the oldest possible car, and we'll see a punch buggy again. They were just like, they didn't think like futuristic when they thought cars. They were just like, we'll have VW bugs still, and we will.
That was my issue with this. There was a lot of things on Earth that still looked 90s, even the clothing, I feel.
Right.
But they're in 2049. You kind of got to keep reminding yourself, because there's not that many like connections to that world.
Right. Like Earth didn't develop to 2049 all that much, but like outside of like hoverboards, that's their big thing, and like tiny discs and auto drive cars.
They basically have a better relationship with space. That's
right.
all.
Space is excelling.
Yeah, that's all. So at the restaurant, Aunt Judy's like, I'm going to leave to wash my hands. So Judy goes to leave, and then the kids from the other table are staring her down because, of course, she's in her space clothes. And then I'm going to say the most annoying character so far. I, in my opinion, I think she beats Marnie from Halloween Town as the most annoying character. Marcy. We have a very bad M.
Margie.
Oh my God.
Let's get into these. Let's talk about these actors real quick.
You do it.
Andrew, the star of the movie, is played by Brendan Jefferson, who is gonna show up again in The Other Me, and he's also in Holes.
That's a big one.
Yeah, he's X-Ray in Holes, which is awesome. Did you ever see Holes?
I haven't seen Holes.
Yeah, shocking. All right.
I know.
I had to throw one of those in here. Margie is played by Lauren Maltby. She's gonna show up 4 more times. Or, no, sorry, 3 more times.
She was in the title card at the end of the movie for the sequel, and it made me angry.
Right. She's gonna show up in the sequel. She's gonna show up in Z3. And she's gonna show up in Stepsister from Planet Weird.
She's a sci-fi girl.
She's a sci-fi girl. Also, Greg, once again, didn't put down enough information for Greg, but I get his name right. It's Greg. Gregory Smith.
We don't learn his name for at least 20 more minutes.
Oh, we don't know. Yeah, we don't learn any of their names for a bit. But I'm just not interested in waiting.
Greg has a lot of scenes with Zenon because they become close. And they have like 20 minutes of scenes together. We don't know his name.
Right.
Just made me angry. Is that all your actor things?
He is actually, the other one is going to be a producer on the live action Kim Possible DCOM.
Hopefully he was a better producer.
A low bar to beat.
Yeah. We get our first assault. As a New Jersey and myself, I want to bring up, we get an assault on New Jersey in this scene. Margie makes fun of Zenon and says, "What are you, from like Eastern Jersey?" 2 things here. What is Eastern Jersey? Is that a future thing? And 2, she only refers to New Jersey as Jersey. Is it 2049? Is it not New Jersey anymore? Is it not new?
No, what? Everyone, you say Jersey as in Jersey.
I know, but still, it makes me think of a future where New Jersey just becomes Jersey and New York just becomes York because it's not new anymore.
What's in East Jersey? You're the Jersey expert.
It's irrelevant. You've got north and south. That's all that matters.
Is there a central?
Depends. I'm indifferent on the Central Jersey debate.
I don't know anything about New Jersey.
You don't need to. It's just the butt of every joke. I feel like we're going to get more of them in DCOMs, and I wanted to bring it up. So, back into the film, Margie? Yeah?
Margie. Yeah.
Margie's at the table. She makes fun of Zenon. Zenon's like, "You're annoying," and she leaves, and she catches Judy on the way out, and they leave the restaurant.
Big time burn from Zenon.
Yeah. Couldn't remember it, but it felt good. It was a good burn.
Just an aside, how is Zenon even like, I want food, like, is she not jet lagged? Like, I feel like she'd just be like, I want to go home and go to bed. Let me go to bed.
There's some weird space technology we probably don't know about. Let's just go with that.
Right.
Yeah. So, in the next scene, Judy and Zenon go to Judy's house, and then Zenon goes, "Why aren't you married or have kids?" And Judy's like, "I'm not brave like you, Zenon." Very weird conversation. And then Judy says goodnight. Yeah.
It was a weird question to ask, and it was a weird answer.
An irrelevant scene, really.
The scene also kind of makes sense in the sense of the failed pilot aspect of, like, we gotta find a way to get Aunt Judy onto the space station.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You could definitely see a TV show aspect where they would cut this all down.
Right. Like, they're pushing to get, yeah, like, and we'll see it more later when Aunt Judy randomly finds a love interest on the ship. Mm-hmm. They're slowly working on, like, how do we get Aunt Judy on the ship?
Yeah, because one of her big things is she hates travel. So after Judy leaves the bedroom, Zenon pulls out the data zap to call Nebula, but apparently the parents have put a blocker on it, so they can only call. So Zenon can only call her parents. That's the end of that.
I got this on, and I thought they blocked her number, like, so she couldn't even call them.
No, it was just a parent thing. It was the Ladybug phone from Dire Wimpy Kid kind of vibe. So the next day, Zenon goes to school because apparently she needs to go to school on Earth for her grounding. I don't know. Yeah, but she's introduced to the class as the girl from space. And the group from the restaurant the other day make fun of her just because she's different, of course. Still in space clothes.
Also just Margie.
Just Margie and nobody else. Nobody likes Margie. Margie's just kind of there. No, she offers nothing to the group. And they call her out on that later, the dudes.
Yeah. Someone should have stopped Zenon from showing up to school in that clothes.
Yeah, or just give her human clothes. That should have been the first thing. The parents should have sent her down with human clothes.
Also, this classroom looks like the classroom from Mean Girls.
Oh my god. Is this the first Mean Girls? Like
Yeah.
this, like Zenon, like not.
Oh yeah.
Not
yeah.
Mean Girls 2. I can't believe you thought I was talking about the sequel to Mean Girls.
I was so confused.
You were confused because it wasn't a good comparison.
No.
So after that, we cut to pool class, where Zenon is asked if she can swim, and she's like, "Hell yeah, I can." And then Margie pushes her into the pool, and turns out Zenon can only swim in space because of gravity.
Space swim. Okay.
So after she gets pushed in, and after 2 seconds, Greg notices that. I guess he notices that Zenon's drowning. It doesn't look like it.
Greg's a smart enough kid to notice, like,
she can't swim. Okay.
To notice she got pushed in the pool. She's kind of like flailing. She's swimming like you would in space. I'll be honest.
They make the scene very dramatic for what it turns out to be.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, he jumps in, and you can tell that he was not lifting any weight on the way up from the steep pool, and that Zenon was just swimming up. That's all that happens in this scene. Because then we cut to the science class where Zenon is working with Margie, and they're heating up some chemical. Zenon is using Celsius. She's supposed to be using Fahrenheit because they're on Earth. And the beaker breaks and it sets the science lab, only her desk, on fire, which should be treated as a bigger deal than it actually is.
Yeah, this is a bigger deal than hiding in the memory bank.
Like, this time it was an accident, but still, it was a large fire.
Right. Also, Margie's gonna say that Celsius is double Fahrenheit, which was funny when she said it, but then I was like, that's not right. And she doesn't say it in a joking manner.
Well, yeah.
It's just
I don't know the difference.
Like, it doesn't make, like, she's just like, you dummy, you doubled it. Like.
And she's wrong too.
We're all wrong.
And then finally we see another scene where Zenon is out of place. She's at the cafeteria, and she goes to pay for her orange and banana, but she does not have any money to pay for it because she forgets that people pay for stuff on Earth, because in space they just barter with moon rocks and alien skulls.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was a joke.
It sounded like a joke. I don't think it was.
It's written like a joke. It's not delivered like a joke.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, Greg pays for the meal because, like, he's like, she's from space. She doesn't know any of this. Nobody briefed her. And then,
good guy.
Shout out Greg. And he tries to teach her some. Zenon gets angry at some Earth slang because she misunderstands it. And Greg's like, this is what it actually means. And Zenon's like, I didn't take a foreign language class, and walks away.
Yeah, I'm not here to take a foreign language class, which is, I don't know if it's racist.
They all speak English.
Planetist?
Yeah, we're Earthist here.
Earthist. Maybe it's like nationalism.
I don't know if you can extend nationalism to space, but we haven't crossed that frontier in society yet.
Let us know, Elon.
Come on the pod, Elon.
Come on the pod. Zenon's equal. We got a spot for you, man.
So in the next scene, we're back at Judy's house, and Zenon's complaining that nobody believes her and that she'll miss dancing with Microbe. And then we see that Judy's house has been broken into. Nothing is missing in this house, but the house is a mess. And then Zenon's like, it's obviously Mr. Wyndham and Lutz. For no specific reason at this point.
Does she notice at this point that Mr. Lutz looks at her weird when...
No. I don't think that's until Greg brings it up later. I don't know, that whole conversation later is weird.
Right.
I really don't know where she's at in this scene.
Right. I feel like it's safe to assume that it's them.
For at least for somebody who knows, like, has suspicions about them.
Right. Right, you have enemies. No way Aunt Judy has enemies.
Yeah. Judy doesn't talk to anybody, it seems like.
No.
Two things about this. They're both clothing things. Zenon, noticing the house has been broken into to clean up during, like, when the cops are there, she's just folding clothes. She doesn't care about this. Be a little bit more worried. And then my second thing here is, honestly, if Zenon just took off the vest to her outfits, she'd look like she'd wearing normal clothes.
Yeah.
Just a couple weird colors, but still, it's the 90s.
They're pretty close. Like, that's the thing about these clothes. It's like they're future clothes, but also, like, if you walked into somewhere wearing that stuff in the 90s, I think you'd be fine.
Yeah, you pass. It's not that hard.
Also, I just want to point out here, the aunt's, like, really normal.
Yeah, you expect something to be, like, off with her. She's just
Right.
a little, like, I'm not going to say socially inept, but...
She's, like, not great in the dating scene, is, like,
but
what her
that's
main thing she said.
That's the only flaw she has.
Yeah. She's just like a normal person. You'd think she'd be, like, afraid of the outside.
That's the vibe she gives off.
Right.
Especially with it being a DCOM.
Yeah.
So, in the next scene, they're at a library. Oh, boy. Are you going to call me out for that one? I'm going to call myself out here. I say library weird.
You did it enough, yeah.
So, Zenon is trying to, I guess, the future version of Google, which is owned by Wyndham, a very, like, Elon Musk kind of move. And she's trying to Google the annual report to Wyndham and his business, but it's confidential. So in frustration, she groans loudly, and but then she looks over and sees that Greg is there doing some homework. So she goes over to him, and then she apologizes for having a bad day last time they talked. And Greg's like, I gotta leave. But then as he slowly, like, walks out of this place, he's like, I work at a stable. Want to come see some horses? And then Zenon's like, no. And then Greg starts to walk out. And then, like, 10 seconds later, Greg is still there walking out. And Zenon's like, yeah, real horses? Cool.
He didn't just, like, decide to leave when she came over. She asked him for help, and he was like, no, there you go.
But he's obviously romantically interested in her.
Yeah.
So after that, we cut to the stable where Greg works at, and Zenon is scared of the horse named Pogo. Shout out Pogo. So Greg takes the horse out and starts to, like, brush him. And then he's like, do you want to brush Pogo? And she's like, I'm not sure. And then Greg's like, no, do it. And he grabs her arm. He grabs her arm and starts to brush it. And then Zenon's like, yay, brushing horses. We really turn into a horse girl movie here.
I didn't take notes during this scene out of solidarity for myself.
Well, I did. So I'm going to explain what else happens. Then he's like, do you want to ride Pogo? And she's like, no. And then he's like, get on. So they get on. And then they go horseback riding to the ocean. Where is this farm or stable where you can take a, like, 2-minute horse ride to the ocean?
I don't know.
Okay, that's all. No answers. And that's the end of the...
Is that the part where she says she's never seen an ocean before?
Yeah.
Okay. I've got some gripes.
You can see Earth, like the globe, is mainly an ocean.
Alright. Number 1, she can see oceans from her space station. Number 2, the plane landed on a large body of water, which I can assume is an ocean. Number 3, she went to a restaurant with her aunt on a pier. Number 4,
there's 4.
Number 4, she lived on Earth for 5 years.
We're not getting into that again. But your first 3 points are very valid.
The 4th point is valid,
the 4th
too.
point, no, it is, but we've discussed it.
She's seen an ocean at least 4 times. At least 3, definitely 4, though.
Well, we don't get an explanation to that as the horse ride is over. And then they go bike riding. And we get another scene where Zenon's like, I can do this. But then she falls because gravity is different. That's the joke again. And that's the end of that scene. There's no more to that biking thing.
Right.
Greg takes Zenon out to dinner at the same place they went before. She's in a new outfit at this point. Where does she get this?
Maybe Greg helped her out and took her to a clothing store and said, let's get you some Earth clothes.
The thing is, though, I think she says later that Aunt Judy got her the clothes. She wasn't carrying a bag earlier. Whatever. This is irrelevant.
Completely missed it.
And she has a jacket in the scene right after that, too. Whatever.
We're not a fashion podcast.
Apparently, I noticed it, though, and it... Whatever. So, at dinner, Zenon is enjoying the food, and she's talking about... Like, Greg's like, why do you like space so much? And then Xenon's like, space is home. But then Lutz appears from a distance. I don't know how... She's got, like... What's better than 20/20 vision?
2021 vision.
Yeah, no, that sounds right. She sees Lutz from a distance, who's like, he's also creepily staring at her. Probably should get arrested. This is Earth. Like, you gotta arrest the guy staring at a 13-year-old girl.
Does he stare at her? I didn't know that they ever noticed each other.
I think so, because Lutz is like,
he notices her.
Lutz disappears
Right.
right after, like, she sees him.
I buy it. I don't remember this.
And then Xenon's like, forget all this food that you're gonna have to work weeks to pay off for. We're getting out of here.
Yeah, she bought like 20 things off of the menu.
Yeah, also, if you come from space where she like makes a point that all the food on the ship is like healthy, no preservatives and everything, I feel like eating that much fried food would kill you if you were coming from space.
You just weren't having a good time, yeah. You'd be in a lot of bowel trouble.
Your digestive thing, like track, would be destroyed.
Also, why Aunt Judy, give her money.
Yeah, why don't you?
Aunt Judy's house is gigantic.
For one person?
One person. It's a humongous home. She didn't have $2 for lunch at school, you know?
Yeah. This is the scene where we finally get Greg's name. It's been 20 minutes since we've met Greg. We finally learned his name. After we went through all of that. That made me angry. And another thing that was weird is, what happened? Xenon's like, that's this dude, Lutz. And then Greg goes, the dude who works for Windham? How does he know who the right-hand man for Mr. Windham is? Like, I get Windham is a big company, but still.
I think the idea is that she told him everything.
Okay, never mind then.
That was my understanding.
Let's go with it, because I shouldn't get frustrated at this.
Mm-hmm.
So then we go down to the water, and we have a weird point where Greg compliments Xenon's legs. Very unnecessary. And then Zenon puts her foot in the water because she's like, I've never done this before. And while this is happening, Greg is hacking into the Windham internal database, where he finds like financial reports and stuff of that. So he makes Zenon like reenact the moment earlier with like Windham and Lutz when they arrive on Earth. And then she does, when she's talking,
Radio Rebel, yeah.
She does the Radio Rebel. And he's like, that thing on your ear. That's probably what Lutz was looking for. And Xenon's like, you're right. And I think that's all that happens here.
Yeah, you gotta assume, like, why do you wear a disc around your ear? Like, imagine you had a flash drive as an earring.
That's somebody's style.
Someone's done it.
Yeah, not us.
Not me.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How does this 13-year-old kid hack into one of the biggest companies that spans both the world and space via his laptop in like 5 minutes?
I don't know, maybe he'll ask the other kid who hacks into this database for help on how to do it.
Let's go with that.
Because it's gonna happen twice.
Yeah. So after that scene, Greg and Zenon, they bike home. They're sharing a bike. It's not a tandem bike, I don't think.
And they're small enough people.
That still seems uncomfortable.
Yeah. But if he's
Whatever.
a fast biker,
they'll get home quickly. So as Greg and Zenon bike back home, he drops her off at Aunt Judy's house, and it starts to downpour. Zenon has a moment where she remembers what rain is, and then Greg says that he had an alpha time, and we think they're gonna kiss here, but Zenon's like, I gotta go inside, and Greg's like, okay, see you tomorrow at Andrew's, where we're gonna do some more hacking. And that's the end of that scene.
she also was like, yeah, I remember rain. I remember summer storms. You remember summer storms, but not oceans.
Oh boy.
I'll fight. I wanna make clear, we're not bullying teenage kids, we're bullying adult writers.
Yeah, definitely. Because they're just acting.
They're just acting. They have no control.
Other people
1998. You think kids had choices when they were acting? No way.
The laws were much more lax.
I'll bully Troy Bolton. I'm not gonna bully.
He's a legal adult, right?
I don't think so. Not in the first or the second one. Definitely not the first one.
We'll check it out.
Yeah, whatever.
So the next day they're at Andrew's, and Andrew's trying to read the disc, but that doesn't matter in this scene because Margie is being annoying and she's getting frustrated because she thinks Greg and Zenon have a thing, which they absolutely do. But the thing is, Margie and Greg are not together. It's very clear. Everybody knows it, except Margie.
Yeah, for sure. Margie and Greg are not together.
Zenon's wearing human clothes in this scene. Thank goodness.
Good for her.
Somebody thought better. The scene ends. Margie's like, I know somebody high up, and I'm gonna tell them that their space person to dance at the concert is on Earth. I don't think that matters to Zenon that much right now, but still.
No, I think it mattered big time to Zenon.
Well, it mattered big time to Zenon, but like, the thing is, she's just gotta get back to space because Earth isn't good to her. I don't know. So in the next scene, it's night, and Andrew wakes up to his computer. An egg appears on the screen, and it's like a clip art or like a poorly animated egg. It cracks, a bug comes out, and it eats through the red desktop wallpaper, and his computer starts to spark and destroy.
Some real weird clip art that goes on in this movie, and that's the only word I can think to describe this. Like,
it's clip art.
Yeah, like I just don't know how that scene makes it into the movie.
I don't know, man. It doesn't matter because in the next scene, Andrew just puts this virus on the library computer because he's like, I gotta work on some computer, so I'm gonna use this one. And he's like, I've reversed it into an undo file. Here you go. You gotta get it onto the ship.
Andrew's a genius.
Yeah, to prevent the virus putting it on a computer the second time and then changing that file into an undo file.
You gotta think, Windham had to make that virus himself.
And he's got a lot of money.
Right. Like, this is a 13-year-old kid going up against Elon Musk's coding.
Insane. Andrew says that the virus on the ship is like, it's going to take longer to work because it's a ship. And then Zenon's like, I gotta go fix this. So she runs out with Greg, and they go back to Judy's house where they call up her parents, and she's like, I know what's happening. And the parents are like, no, nothing's happening. Only the oxygen system on the ship is breaking down.
Nothing else.
Yeah, so they just don't believe Zenon, and the call ends. Lutz comes over to Judy's house where he's like,
This is the part where Zenon calls him and is like stops breaking, and they're like, no, it's just this, and she's like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, for sure. And then they hang up and they do a quick cut to the station, and the parents are like, how did she know other things are breaking?
Oh yeah.
Which is like, start evacuating. I don't...
Evacuate, and maybe Zenon could help, because she knows this stuff is happening.
Yeah, Zenon's right.
Somebody's got to be willing to give her a chance if she's, like, just through her mind thinking stuff is happening.
Right.
I don't know.
Alright, so Zenon and Greg are at her house, and they're just standing there, and Lutz, like, appears out of the backyard. And he's like, hey, yo, what's up? And Greg's like, whoa, I'll fight you. And he's like, I come in peace. And you're like, oh, okay.
I could take him.
Okay. And he's like, I want your earring. And Xenon's like, I'll give you the earring if you get me a lift home. And Lutz is like, alright, deal. And Greg's like, well, like, uneasy in the background. Yeah. And he's like, wait, and like pulls out a piece of paper from somewhere.
A notebook he was holding.
Yeah, and makes Lutz write it down, and which is like, it's a smart idea. It won't work. And then Zenon opts to just, like, she takes off the earring and it's like, alright, here you go, get me back home. Which is like, what? They should want her back on that ship.
Yeah, if it's gonna explode.
Right. This is someone who can link this to you. Like, someone knows you have a plan. Why are you not getting her back on that ship?
Yeah.
And two, Lutz is just gonna take the disc and leave.
Yeah, thing is, Lutz never asks for the disc, like, at this moment.
Yeah?
And Zenon just, like, gives it to Lutz. Because it seemed like, okay, once Zenon gets up to space, she's going to give Lutz the disc, but she's like, no, I'm just going to give it to him now. It doesn't matter because in the next scene, it's learned that it's a fake disc. But still, why the fake out if he was willing to take you to space without the disc anyway?
Right, I feel like you just could have pushed your luck more. Like, you could have gotten
You're taking a risk, yeah.
Like, you could have been like, alright, get me there first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Feels a little silly, but she's 13, you know?
Yeah, can't hate him too much.
Can't hate him too much. Also, Greg was like, don't give it to him before you do this deal. And she's like, oh, relax, Greg. And so, we're gonna cut to the next scene, and Xenon's gonna be like, it was a fake disc. And they're sitting on a giant rock in front of somewhere where it says hoverboard and scooters only.
We get a Brink cameo.
Yeah?
In this scene. Yeah, some kids on rollerblades come by.
Nice.
I'm glad rollerblades are still a thing in 2049. Gives me hope for the future.
Well, with the power of Brink, of course it is. And so then we're gonna cut to Lutz inside some office. And he tries to use the disc, and he gets another one of these graphics.
Yeah.
That's like, is it like a Venus flytrap with Xenon's face on it?
I think that's the best way to describe it.
And she, like, sticks out her tongue and, like, raspberries. Yeah. And then there's like a psycho style zoom in on his face of, like, complete shock and horror on what just happened to him. Real bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know who created this because it doesn't seem like Andrew has, because nobody knows Xenon's plan except Zenon. Because she's like, I just put nail polish on the disc to make it rainbow. So apparently she hacked the thing. I don't know.
She didn't need to do any, like, computer program. You just hand him a fake disc.
I don't know, man.
Alright. Xenon's gonna call Nebula back at this rock. They kind of just, like, cut to that other scene.
Yeah, Andrew takes the blocker out, and that's why she's able to call.
Right. Zenon calls Nebula and says she's got to sneak into the cargo ship area and find out when the next ship heads out to space, so that Zenon can climb aboard.
Mm-hmm.
And Nebula's like, "No, I hate that.
I hate adventure.
I hate adventure. You know me. Hate it.
Hate it."
And Xenon's just gonna be like, well, you gotta. And she's like, alright. So Nebula and Leo break into the cargo hold and find out that there's a ship that's being launched tonight. So, I think they go run and tell her. Oh, do they get trapped?
Yeah, they get trapped because the machinery in the room breaks down and they can't call Zenon.
Yeah, they can't call Zenon because the spaceship is in danger.
Yeah. Major
Nova. The ship's going supernova.
Honestly, it is a major fail. Or it's a fail major. That's how they would say it.
A fail major.
Yeah.
So we're gonna cut to Andrew's Oceanside mansion.
Yeah.
What are they even doing? Oh, they're playing a game. Him and Mike are playing a game. Mike doesn't matter.
Sorry, Mike.
Anyway, Zenon and Greg are about to kiss on the balcony of Andrew's Oceanside mansion.
Well, there's a little bit that happens before this.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, because
I didn't point that out.
It's not that important because Xenon's just talking about like space and everything. And then we cut right back to the ship. The machinery turns back on, and Leo and Nebula can get out of the cargo area. Because the kissing doesn't happen, or that scene doesn't happen until we get back to Earth.
Right. They're gonna call Zenon and Greg and interrupt the almost kiss.
The second time they try to do it, because they bumped teeth the first time.
Right. It's a bit. They're doing a bit.
It was a cute moment, you know. Young love. Oh, wait. I thought this was... I loved it because Greg goes, "You're not like other girls. You're alpha extreme." And I think I'm going to use that in my life. That's all. I have nothing else to say about that.
I think it's a good move.
It's a good move because Zenon pulls a power move and she's like, "Zetus Lapidus, if you want to kiss me, just do it." Great moment.
I'm going to use Zetus Lapidus.
Yeah?
More. Yeah.
Dude, this podcast is alpha extreme, bro.
We might alienate people if we try to be too alpha extreme, honestly.
That's not the vibe we're going in. So continue.
We're not. Trust us. Alright, so all the kids are gonna pack into a red punch buggy that is autopilot. Also, you guys are smart enough in the writer's room to just be like, auto drive. It's auto drive. There's no flying in this car. So, I'm being picky, but it was just like, it's not auto, no one's piloting anything. And they even yell at Andrew at one point and they go, "Oh, you even know how to pilot this thing? It's a car."
He's literally just like, "I just gotta put in the directions and I'm fine."
Right.
But also, they push the car down the hill before they get into it. What's with that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, cool.
And that didn't make sense to me either.
Okay.
But, Margie's gonna get jealous and start, like, being like, "Didn't I tell you to stay away from Greg, Zenon?" And Zenon's
Gregory, she calls him.
Gregory. It's his given name. And Zenon's like, and Greg's just like, "Margie, shut up. Shut up.
We were never together, you dummy."
We were never together. You're the worst. We gotta go send Zenon home." And then Margie goes, "Oh, we're sending Zenon home? Count me in. Open the trunk. I'll get in." The only person in the back seat is Mike, who is in no way large enough to take up more. He's the skinniest person in this movie.
Margie deserves to go in the trunk.
Right.
The character, not the actor. These are 13-year-old kids, I'm sorry. The character Margie deserves to be shut away.
They're gonna make their way to Wyndham Palace.
Sure.
My favorite Premier League team. And they realize that they're too late for the ship. It's gonna take off, and they're gonna honk the horn at it.
They're gonna run it down. They're gonna be like, "No, stop."
No, it doesn't. It's got places to go. And Margie's gonna be like, "Oh man, I really hope they don't blow a microbe."
No, she said,
Yeah.
Doesn't she go like, man, it'd be really cool if it exploded like with Microbe up there, because I thought like the concert with an explosion would be cool.
No, I don't think she wants Microbe to explode.
That's what I got from it. But either way, what a terrible comment to make.
No, because we're talking about two different comments. One comment is, I hope Microbe doesn't blow up, and one comment is, I hope Microbe blows up.
Oh wait, well, no, there's two different things to this. So we'll go with your thing that she doesn't want Microbe to be up there when it blows up. No matter the fact here, she's like, man, like she doesn't like, man, I don't want the place to blow up, because Xenon's still there. Everybody she knows is up there. Margie's basically like, I don't care if everybody dies.
Right, that's the messed up part.
Horrific comment, that's all.
Not great, not a great line.
Wishing death on just everybody.
She prefaces it too with like, this might be terrible to say, but I
At least
really
she
hope
knows.
yeah. She's like, this might be bad, but I bet Microbe wasn't up there when they blow up.
Doesn't make it better, but still.
It does save the day. Because Zenon realizes that Microbe is going up there and she just needs to hitch a ride with Microbe. Hop in the tour spaceship of the 30-year-old boy band.
Yeah.
Disney. Come on.
Just let it happen.
No. So we're gonna cut to the morning. We have plenty of time. There's no time frame in this movie.
No rush.
They're gonna show up back at the Wyndham Palace, and they're gonna try and sneak in. Well, no, they're gonna try and just like go in normally through the front gate.
They have a good plan, because they're like, hey, Xenon's the winner of this contest. Let her in. But then the security guard's like, Mr. Wyndham said, we gotta detain you.
Yeah, he's like, we've been looking for Zenon. Yeah, to detain her. And then Zenon reaches over and steps on the gas pedal. They break through the barrier and they speed all the way in. They're all gonna rush into this press conference that Wyndham's holding to, like, inaugurate
The
launch of Microbe into the sun. Into the space station. And Xenon's gonna be like, alright, I gotta go alone. Peace out. And just ducks, and just deuces. He doesn't, like, there's no goodbye.
Yeah, there is. Greg gets a little peck.
Oh.
Shout out Greg. Good for him. He gets a hug and a little kiss.
Yeah, shout out Greg.
What a king.
So she's gonna run backstage behind the podium and find Protozoa. And she's gonna be like, I'm Zenon, I won your contest, I need to get back to the space station, please take me with you. And he's gonna be like, and then the people are like, you gotta leave.
They know it's Zenon. They're like, we gotta arrest this girl, basically.
Those are the next group of people. Those are after
okay.
he agrees.
My bad.
I don't know if the sculpture's there or if he just, like, flashes to the sculpture.
I think the sculpture's there.
Yeah.
There's a table.
Yeah. But he looks at her face is on the sculpture.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, it is you. And it's like, yeah, I'll take you back. Head out back there. That way. And then the security guards show up and they're like, hey, is that Zenon? Like, oh, like, we'll get rid of her. And then he's like, when are you guys gonna stop doing whatever Wyndham says all your life and start embracing rock and roll?
Yeah, and you know how they embrace rock and roll? One of the security guards takes off the ties and he gets a little, presumably non-alcoholic mocktail.
So she's gonna run onto the ship, and Musk and Lutz are talking about their great plan. Off to the side, they're gonna talk about how good of a plan it is to send Microbe into space to cover up the mass murder that they're planning in order to get insurance money.
I have a problem with this plan.
I have a lot of problems with this plan.
The reputation of your company by sending a band up into space that has so many people on there and it exploding under your watch, wouldn't that be worse? Like, ruin your reputation instead of just getting insurance money.
There'd be a big investigation about this.
Yeah, and they would figure him out.
And you'd probably be held liable regardless.
Yeah, it's your company, it's your ship. You were underfunding them.
A lot of lives, like that. It's not just going to be an insurance write-off.
Yeah.
This is an investigation.
And
especially
another
with
issue.
Chelsea Clinton at the helm.
Yeah, Chelsea Clinton's going to call you out. No doubt about that. My other problem with this is there's got to be somebody, because like you see the ship kind of like being destroyed from the inside. Somebody at the space station has to be like, yo, that ship up there, it's unstable. We are not going to send a famous rock band up there.
Yeah. Like, why isn't this pilot who we've seen numerous times go up to the spaceship, why doesn't she go like, stuff's bad up there?
Let's do something about it or not send anybody else up there.
Yeah, like, why isn't she just like, I'm not going back up there? It is bad.
Yeah.
But
that's all.
Regardless. So they're going to be talking about how great of a plan it is. And then Zenon's aunt is going to show up and be like, where's Zenon? And they're going to be like, no Zenon here. and then the aunt is going to, I think we missed it, but Zenon like left the aunt a message and was like,
yeah,
this
she's
is
like,
what's happening.
Yeah, I'm going home, basically.
Mm-hmm. So then she's like, well, wherever Protozoa is, Zenon's there also. And they all go, uh-oh, and run onto the ship as it's taking off. And they get stuck up against the wall. Elon Musk and Mr. Lutz are going to fly into the luggage storage. And Zenon is gonna, like, unbuckle her seatbelt, fly to the back of the ship, and lock them in there. And then is going to rescue Aunt Judy to the front of the ship. No problem. And they're all going to take off towards the space station.
They play poker on the ship as she informs them of the situation, like the band.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to do a thing real quick, but then I'll dance on stage. Like, then we're fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah. And the dude's just like, okay.
So Microbe is going to board that bad ship. It's a bad ship because it's in full meltdown. Zenon's gonna rush to find the commander and tell him that she's trying to help, but Wyndham and Lutz kind of like intercept the commander and Zenon and the aunt, and they're all arguing for a little, and Zenon and her aunt are locked in the commander's office.
One thing you missed, there was a nice little romantic moment that Commander Plank and Aunt Judy have where the ship tilts and Judy starts to slide and Commander Plank catches her and they kind of have
the ship's in full evacuate the ship mode. And not much thought about it, but Zenon and her aunt are gonna get locked in the commander's office, but she's gonna try and call Nebula, but she needs to call Earth first because when Andrew fixed her iPad thingy, data zap. I never heard the term data zap all movie until you said it.
It was just on the screen at the first scene. I think that's all.
She's gonna data zap down to Greg and be like, Andrew stopped my ability to communicate locally when he made me communicate from a distance? I don't know. They're gonna then call Nebula and tell Nebula to go to the commander's office and save her. And Nebula's like, but I hate adventure. And they're like, and they've already hung up. They're already like, I don't care. I ain't up there. Nebula comes and breaks them out, and they climb out through the air vent, and they run to the command center, to input the 13-year-old's anti-hacker software and save the ship at the last possible second.
Yeah, it starts to like count down from 30, and Plank's like, I got this. I can still stop it. And Xenon's like, you absolutely don't have this. I can save it right here. And then it counts down the 1 as she can't get the access code for the disk to work. And then the ship kind of goes dark. And we're like, uh-oh, did the ship explode? And the lights turn back on, everybody's saved. In the frantic thing, somebody else, like another character, screams, Cetus Lapidus. That didn't have the same effect as when Zenon
It never
says
does.
It just doesn't. But we can say Cetus Lapidus.
We are.
Because we're cool like that. Yeah.
So, what way
Okay.
to celebrate a national spaceship being saved?
And people almost dying. Oh, like so many people.
Then a cafeteria music performance from none other than Microbe.
I love this scene so much.
The song's a good song. I think of the song a lot just on my day-to-day.
I wanted to say, yeah, it got stuck at, like, it was very catchy and everything. And usually I don't remember songs, but then when I was thinking about it right before I said it, I'm like, zoom, 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 boom, boom, boom. Oh, right. Such a good time.
The fun part about this scene is, like, there's 5 instruments on stage, and at the peak of the song, it sounds like maybe 2 of them are being played.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, though.
It's a great song.
It's a heartwarming scene.
If you don't watch the movie, listen to the song.
It's a great song.
And it'll make your heart go boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I mean, just in this scene, Zenon's like, she's like, I got 2 things for you. And Microbe dedicates the song to Greg, who is FaceTiming in, looking so uninterested.
It's clear that they filmed Greg's shot before they filmed Zenon, so they didn't know what he needed to react to.
I think it was the same reaction twice also. And she doesn't, like, hold the data zap up or anything. She just, like, kind of puts him down.
Like, the way he says goodbye, I don't remember what it was. I think he just throws up a peace sign or a thumbs up. And it's like, alright, that wasn't necessary. But the other thing she does is she says, no way, I'm dancing. No way I'm dancing. I want Nebula to dance. And throws Nebula up on stage.
And Raven-Symoné gets a tambourine.
You don't know where it comes from. But she's got one.
She's shaking it, not on beat to anything, but it's fun. Also, if you just saved an entire ship, can't you have, like, 2 people dance on stage with Microbe? You could be like, oh, we can both do it. I know it's a heartwarming moment where she's like, okay, you can go dance. You can both dance. You saved the ship from blowing up.
It's like, can't stress this enough, it looks like they're performing in, like, a comedy club. Like, it's not big. The first space concert is very underwhelming. Especially if you're, like, tuning in from Earth.
Yeah, you would expect it to be outside, basically. Like, they'd be in space shoots. And, like, I know it's kind of, like, the destigmatized relationship between Earth and space. But still, you would expect a performance. Yeah. But it's a good performance anyway.
Like I said before, the dancing on stage is weird. Alright, let's get into what people really want to know. Let's get to these rankings, man.
I'm excited for this one because I think we're going to have our first difference here.
Okay.
I really think we are.
How do we do this in a fun way?
Well, I think it's going to be fun because I want to hear. I have written my ranking down already, so I'm not going to be influenced by you. I want you to say your ranking first because I think you're going to be shocked where I put mine.
Because let's look at each one.
Okay, because we're not going to be able to do it later when we have a bunch more.
Unfortunately, I don't think we're going up the list. I think let's start going down the list. Zenon's not better than Brink.
It's not better than Brink. Brink is still my number 1.
Zenon is not better than Halloween Town for me.
This is why I wanted to do it the other way.
Okay,
Xenon's my number 2. Well, here's my thing. It's not a better movie than Halloween Town. However, I had more fun watching Zenon than I did watching
Do you have more
Halloween
fun because it was bad, or do you have more fun because it was entertaining and bad?
I think it was the entertaining kind of bad. I was laughing I thought everything, just the whole like situation and everything. I loved Protozoa and the microbe. I loved the relationships of the characters, except Margie. But it was just fun.
I can understand your point of view, and should we see where it falls for me?
Yeah.
All right.
So what's your number 3?
So let's talk about Halloween. I think Halloween Towns is better put together.
It is better put together. I'll give you that.
Better. I think it knows what it is, and yeah. That being said,
I agree.
I also think Under Wraps is better than Zenon.
Whoa. Okay. I thought about this as I was thinking where Zenon was gonna fall. I think I'm gonna have a lot of recency bias with my list because of my dumb brain and my horrific memory. I don't remember very much any specifics, or at least that many specifics of like Under Wraps.
So maybe write down, maybe just on the side, write down some little blurbs on like what you remember about the movie.
Yeah, but I think it's just going to become difficult when we have tons of movies. Right. It's going to become an issue, but still, I still think my ranking.
I think maybe I did go about this the wrong way. I probably should have, because it's a battle with You Lucky Dog for me. And I don't know if my heart's set. I'm pretty sure I have my mind made up, but it's tough for me to look. You Lucky Dog knows everything it is. It's a bad movie, but it's made well.
It's made well, but it's not entertaining.
Which is why I think Zenon will fall in the number 4 spot. But I think the thing that Zenon has against it is there's not very much redeemable about it. Like, the nostalgia is fine, and I think that was a big driving force in it for me, but it's not, like, if you're looking at if you're trying to find the perfect DCOM, Halloween Town, Under Wraps, I feel like encapsulates that friends come together to beat a problem better than Zenon does. The stakes are higher in Zenon. Mass murders on the line. Also, no murder in this one. Attempted murder.
Very close to a mass murder.
A second away from a mass murder.
Yeah. No, but I agree with what you're saying about, like, all those movies are better made, are stronger, just like stories and everything. I just had so much fun with this movie.
What's the message in Zenon? Right.
There's no message, and that's okay.
But there is a one.
At least for me.
There is one in, I feel like, the other 3. You know?
Yeah. And my thing is, like, you brought up nostalgia. I have no nostalgia for this movie. And I don't know if that leads to me liking it more because I wasn't expecting anything out of it. I went into it with, like, if it's fun, it's fun. And I
understand that. I respect your rankings. It'll be interesting to see how we can do this ranking.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows? If you have any ideas, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that wraps it up.
Yeah, that was Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century.
I had a fun time.
I had a great time. I'm gonna go listen to Boom Boom Boom, Make My Heart Go Zoom Zoom Zoom, or something.
It's
the
probably titled Supernova Girl.
Supernova Girl makes sense.
Next week, we're doing Can of Worms?
Oh boy.
I'll be honest, I don't remember this one. Maybe it'll pop back into my mind when I watch it. I don't remember this one. So I'm interested to see where we go. Let's take it. You can find our podcast at anchor.fm/the Unofficial DCOM podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at the Unofficial DCOM. You can email us at the Unofficial DCOM at gmail.com. Email us questions. If you don't know us and you're just listening to this, let us know. Email us. Send us anything.
Literally send us anything.
Want to see what happens, you know? Share this podcast. Give us 5 stars. Tell people about us.
Through our Anchor link, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google whatever, wherever you get your podcasts, really.
Yeah. I'm Anthony.
I'm Ethan.
Yeah?
Tony, I just want to say something. I had an alpha extreme
Bye.
time with you today. Bye.